Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of E2E or Engineer to Engineer. And today we have Vyshnavi Namani again to talk about something a little different. So, we've talked about Application Web Gateway before, but now we're going to go beyond the basics and talk about JSON Web Token validation and ways to keep your APIs safe and build more secure applications. Hello, Visnavi.
Hi, Peter. Great to meet you
Hi.
guys. And hello again. Great to be
Hey.
here.
So, JSON Web Token or JWT, as it's written in the announcements and documentation. What is it, and what is I important?
Yeah, JSON Web Token validation itself is very simplistic. It's all about checking every incoming HTTPS request that is coming into your gateway. You can choose to deny or accept your HTTPS request, and mostly is you can figure out who you want to enter into your gateway itself. So basically, jar validation is like the security guard at the front door, making sure only the right people and only the right requests are able to get in. And if the token checks out, the traffic moves forward, and if stopped, and it's stopped before it gets reaches your application.
Okay. And how does it work?
Yes, going down to the nitty-gritty itself is if you are validated and you are approved, you get a green light, and you get a specific custom header. You get a specific like X Microsoft Entra identity that is given produced by the Entra from Azure itself, and you get the specific customized header that directly into injected into your header, and that is kind of like you are green, you are verified, and you can continue on into your request to go straight to the back end, straight to the back, and you basically any others trusted verifications will also you will be able to pass through and get forwarded to the back end. And this is just not only kind to help you just to figure out that you are verified, but also job validation also checks your token signature as well, right? So it checks if you are the right RBAC role, your checks if you're the right issuer, you're the right tenant, you're the specific audience that there's right you that you want to enter, so only the specific targets that you want. And it also checks your timeline, your expiration date, and when you need to what time ranges you're available to go in. And this allows just like a lot more less back end stress and overhead that you have to do as like your already complex architecture. So you just have something else, one less thing to do if a service already checks your tokens, and this is already implemented in your application gateway from the beginning. And this also helps if those are who have very strict compliance, regulatory compliance. This is another verification and authentication method you can do for your flexible authentication, custom authentication needs, and you can have your policies verified right at the edge.
Oh, okay. And who should be using this? Is this like a dev thing? Is it an infrastructure thing? Is it a security team thing? Like, where does that sit?
This is one of the most flexible and very customizable features you can have. This is like it really shines when you're using your zero trust architecture, which is highly recommended for those in Azure already. And it's perfect for if you have multi-tenant applications, right? If you have multiple workspaces and one company that has that from A to Z, and every different workload and workspace is different, and you can allow only the people that want to enter and deny those who are not allowed as well. I have seen this used in as well as like for geolocation, geo blocking as well for those who only want only the accessible regions to access the specific token, and those of not to get denied. I also have seen this in for AI applications and AI architectures, where only if they only want specific members of the team to use your precious inference tokens, inference endpoint tokens for your OpenAI endpoints and your cloud endpoints, and only want to have those specific people to use those tokens from your AI infrastructure itself. So I have seen this in a lot of customers using this for their OpenAI backends as well.
Okay. Uh, can you show us how it works?
Definitely, this is a really quick process. I'm going to switch over. First of all, I want to make sure you guys are. I have linked this in the down below, just as a quick R learn page about jar validation, and it goes into a lot more detail about what it is and a lot more details of what I already talked about in the beginning. But I want to talk to you about how to register this and make sure that a quick demo about how to you can do it yourself as a small little proof of concept, really. So here I'm just going to go ahead first, showcase a little bit. I'm going to go create a demo app registration. And app registration is basically the front door. So you want to make sure that jar token is going through the right, you want to get you want your jar token is going through a specific application. But I'm going to basically create the front door where the jar is able to have access to. And that is just for this demo. This app registration can be very much different for you. This can be your AI backend. It can be another multi-tenant application, but right now for this demo, I'll just be using the app registration. So going into our app registration itself, if you cancel this out. So this applications, I have a app registration here that's already here, and here all we want to make sure is after you set up your app registration with a name, with you have a name, and you get a specific display name, you get a specific you get a client ID, you get a tenant ID, and make sure you're choosing a singular tenant. This is you can use multiple tenant as well. For this demo, I'll be using a single tenant. And here I just want to make sure you copy your client and tenant ID, which will be much easier for your upcoming next task. So copying these client and tenant ID, I think we'll go to going to your application gateway. You already have a deployed an active app gateway, which would be perfect. And going to the one that you already have. I have one here in West Central US. I'll be using here. And making sure you have an available listener for HTTPS. You have an available port. You have an available 443 port. You have an HTTP listener that you are able to use for a small application. And of course, you have if you haven't, you have created a routing rule and routing rule using that listener for HTTPS. This will be useful for your actual jar validation configuration. Following the same steps here. So that we have created a small app registration. We're in the step of if you have already created a routing rule, if you did, make sure you have one and the little stages of the steps to do so. And we're in the stage of now of configuring the jar validation. So now we want to configure the jar validation. You will get these kind of prompts. So if it's a name, you just get a quick name for that. You can choose to allow or deny. Here, this situation, I'll be using deny. And the tenant ID is basically the same tenant ID that you have for your app registration. This is like the GUID of your app registration, and then the tenant is like the main umbrella, and the client is like your specific signature, your digital ID card for your app registration. So you make sure you want to identify the front gate in your jar, so you want to make sure you pass through that gate. And this audience is a little bit special. Audience is specifically the targets that you want. Like my own like signature. A lot of things is like if it's your clients, a lot of times it's your clients ID, GUID, or if it's like common private app, resources as well, resource IDs as well. I have seen like graph.microsoft.com. I've seen like if you're using contosa.com, but there's multiple subsidiaries such as like blog.contosa.com, you can add those here as well. Here, this is a lot flexible. It's limited up to 5 right now, which is expanded. And all you have to do if you want to expand, just use that comma. You can add up to 5, and make sure you have associated dot rule on top of it. Do we have any questions on your side?
What like the audience? Can you elaborate more on the audience? Are there different types of audience and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. You can add on to like audiences. So this already is like a audiences are something that you can do your own flexible signature on. So if you have like multiple subsidiaries or like your own like blog.contosa.com, or if you have your own client GUID that you can have here as well, this is basically your signature to verify that your signature that you want specific targets to enter into your front door, your app registration, you can have that here as well. And it's up to 5. You, of course, using your comma separated list, you can add on to those 5 as well. And of course, have your associated the one you talked about your routing rule and have that plugged in here. And that's really it for the job validation configuration. The next step we'd like to go through is the making sure your job validation is actually like it's working, that you're able to send a request to your job validation. And how we will be doing that is just I'm gonna go ahead and showcase a little bit of that demo. Is the first thing I want to do is like show the actual token. So if you're able to see the token is actually like it's there, it's viable, it's active, and is able to be responsive, then you're able to use the token for your actual entering into the request itself. So you want to make sure your token is active. So this is a way I have done like access a token, a query to access a token, and making sure your audience is available as well. So let's see if the token is actually here. So this is a token that I had for my actual each each Azure account gets a token provided by Entra. So Entra is gonna give you a token that's specifically to you. That where you can use it as your jar token basically. And next thing you want to do to make sure you are actually validated is like sending an actual token request is making sure application gateway is also labeled here. So this is my HTTPS / client ID, front end client ID. My client ID is here as well. So that's the same thing. And then your port. Port is 443, making sure that is verified and is claimed, the variable is claimed. Next thing you want to do is actually curl into the request of your dot request. What I've done here is I have a curl command. I have an authorization bearer. This is the token that you have previously initialed. That you can copy and paste this. And I have here I am initializing, showcasing my application gateway, and I have my headers here to showcase if any headers that I may have. It gives you a more elaborated response. What response you're kind of looking for is this 200. This even this 200 is where you're saying like you are actually you're validated, you're verified, and you are able to go to the next step, and you have basically gotten the acceptance to move forward to the backend. And this 200 is what you're looking for at the end of the day, but additionally you can see what your backend targets are, as well as your identity and your host names are, making sure it does the same as well. And of course, if you haven't gotten the expected of the 200, there's always other troubleshooting stuff that we can go into. If it's for one, checking if your token is valid, and if it's not expired, and if it's active to use, and of course if it's missing, and lastly if it's a 403, that means the curl the claim itself for the client and the tenant might have to recheck that, and making sure to go through the process again. Feel free to include any other questions or comments you may have. And of course, the support center and Azure is always ready to help.
Okay, so this was JWT or JSON Web Token Validation. I can see how this would help our audience kind of make applications and APIs more secure. So, anything else you can tell us? Any announcements or anything that's coming up?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for asking. We have another job validation was announced at Ignite that was recently happening in California. We had another announcement as well for MTLS pass-through. MTLS previously, just what we had before was like MTLS strict, where you had a required certificate and you had a required listener, and all the requests coming into our application gateway would get checked and verified in the beginning of the gateway at the edge. And if you didn't have a certificate, you would basically get blocked. But with this differently, now we have MTLS pass-through, is where the certificate is optional, and you have a lot more flexibility where a request goes straight to the backend, and the backend gets the request validated. And then and the main purpose of this is to make sure all of your requests coming into the application gateway are secure, are going into broad protection, and have the WAF enabled for all your requests. So this is security for all, and making sure this is also great for like scenarios for like multi-tenant, and making sure your multiple microservices that are coming in are also secured coming into the application gateway. We also had another one. We had another announcement with TCP and TLS proxy for non-HTTPS workloads and non-HTTPS requests, and this was also now announced as well for GA.
That's wonderful. I'll make sure to put links in the description below for all of these announcements. And if you're watching at home, go check these things out. Vishnavi, thank you so much for spending the time with us and running us through JWT validation and all of the new announcements that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, yeah. Hopefully you get to try it out, and the links are below. Thank you.
all right. Thank you. And for those at home, make sure to like and subscribe and check out the information below. Thank you so much. Cheers.